Can a small physical setback change the course of a big tournament? That is the big question surrounding Alexander Zverev after his victory over Ben Shelton in Cincinnati, where he secured a semi-final clash against Carlos Alcaraz. Despite his great level on the court, the German's statements after the match have raised all kinds of alarm. Zverev admitted to feeling unwell physically right after the first set, a detail that worries not only his fans but also the entire circuit. Will he be able to arrive in top condition for such a demanding duel against Alcaraz? We are about to find out. Alexander Zverev arrived in Cincinnati with morale high after an American swing that seemed to bring back his best version. With Tony Nadal on his team, his tennis has shown notable improvement after the disappointment at Wimbledon. Reaching consecutive semifinals in Toronto and Cincinnati was a clear sign that the German was regaining confidence and consistency, fundamental to staying among the elite of world tennis in this final stretch of the competitive season. The match against Ben Shelton was a test he passed with great solidity. Zverev dominated an opponent who came in good form and conceded only 4 games, showing security on serve and control in the long rallies. However, what seemed to be a perfect day ended overshadowed by an unexpected detail: physical discomfort that began at the end of the first set and grew over time, causing concern. In the on-court interview, Zverev surprised everyone with his words. "Right now, I don't feel very well," he confessed on camera, hinting that something was not right with his physical condition. The player explained that although he started the match feeling better than in months, he ended up noticing a progressive drop in his sensations, which sparked uncertainty ahead of the next match. High-level tennis requires not only technique and strategy but also physical strength to withstand intense rallies. And here lies the big problem. The clash against Carlos Alcaraz is shaping up to be a duel of maximum demand, where long rallies and physical wear are inevitable. Arriving at 100% is an indispensable requirement to aspire to victory. Beyond the physical, the mental seems to be on Zverev's side. The German, who went through complicated moments in recent months, now shows confidence and determination. His aggressive tennis and ability to dominate long points once again generate respect on the circuit, although his current physical condition could become an unexpected break to maintain that sustained competitive level. The difference of just 1 day of rest between matches increases the difficulty. Barely 24 hours separate his victory over Shelton from the expected clash with Alcaraz. This short margin limits recovery options and forces Zverev to rely on his natural endurance and the preparation of his team, who will have to work intensely to minimize any discomfort before the key duel. Carlos Alcaraz arrives at this semifinal in great form and with the label of favorite. His energy, speed, and ability to play long rallies make it necessary for every opponent to be at their physical best to compete. For Zverev, any weakness can mean a decisive disadvantage, as Alcaraz knows how to capitalize on every opportunity to wear down his rival and bring the match into a terrain where his youth prevails. Facing Alcaraz is always a physical and mental challenge. The Spaniard, at just 21 years old, has shown admirable stamina that allows him to maintain a very high pace even in matches of more than 3 hours. If Zverev is not at full strength, he could be forced to take more risks with his shots, thus increasing the chances of committing unforced errors, which would favor Carlos's offensive game. This possible scenario makes the uncertainty even greater. On the one hand, Zverev is showing a level of tennis capable of competing with anyone on the current tour. On the other hand, the physical factor appears as a dangerous unknown that could ruin a golden opportunity. His fans hope it is only a temporary discomfort that will not decisively affect his performance. Tony Nadal, a key figure in his new team, could play a fundamental role in this situation. Beyond the technical aspect, his experience in managing decisive matches can help Zverev focus his energy on the essentials: staying calm, playing smart, and avoiding unnecessary wear that could worsen the situation. That mental strategy could be decisive against such an intense rival. The crowd will also be watching every gesture of the German on the court. A semifinal between Zverev and Alcaraz promises spectacle, but it can also become a thermometer of the German's true physical state. If he manages to remain solid and competitive, expectations will grow heading into the final. If, on the other hand, he shows signs of weakness, Alcaraz could take advantage to impose his rhythm from the start of the match. The truth is that this duel has all the ingredients to be a turning point in the season. For Zverev, it represents the chance to confirm his return to the highest level. For Alcaraz, it is another opportunity to continue consolidating his dominance in the new generation. And for the fans, it will be a clash full of emotion, uncertainty, and tension, with the added factor of an unexpected detail: the physical condition of a champion whose real extent is not yet known. The contrast between Zverev's great victory over Shelton and the concern about his physical condition creates a unique climate of expectation in Cincinnati. What seemed to be an upward path full of confidence and recovery is now accompanied by the shadow of a discomfort that could condition his performance. The semi-final against Alcaraz promises to be intense, but the outcome will depend as much on tactics and talent as on Zverev's physical endurance. Tennis, like life, always holds surprises, and this match could be a clear example of that. What really separates the great champions from the rest? In the case of Carlos Alcaraz, the answer seems clear: his mental strength. In Cincinnati, the young man from Murcia once again showed that it is not just about tennis talent, but also about resilience and the ability to stay positive even in the most difficult moments. After a tough battle against Andrei Rublev, Alcaraz secured his place in the semi-finals, where Alexander Zverev awaits him. In his statements, he made it clear how the mind plays a decisive role on his road to success. Carlos Alcaraz has turned consistency into one of his main weapons throughout the season. Although his start to the year had ups and downs, since Monte Carlo he has remained one of the most solid players on the circuit. The fact of reaching 7 consecutive semifinals reflects not only his quality as a tennis player but also his ability to adapt to different surfaces, something that very few young players manage to master so naturally. The match against Andrei Rublev was a clear example of the demands he faces in every tournament. Rublev, despite going through irregular moments in his career, is always a formidable rival, capable of complicating anyone with the power of his serve and his aggressiveness. Alcaraz had to draw on all his strength to overcome a duel that stretched to 3 sets and was decided by small details in the most tense moments. In his statements, the Mercian highlighted that staying positive was the key to his victory. Especially in the 3rd set, when he squandered the chance to serve out the match at 5-4. At that moment, many players would have fallen into frustration, but he managed to stay calm and redeem himself later to seal the win. That resilience is a factor that makes the difference in elite tournaments. Alcaraz acknowledged the difficulty of facing Rublev in these conditions. The Russian showed a very solid serve that complicated the return, even with his second serve, where normally Carlos finds advantages. However, the ability to quickly analyze the situation and adjust his strategy allowed the Spaniard to stay competitive and resist until he found his opportunity in the final stretch of the match. Beyond the technical aspects, what stood out most was the mental strength shown by the world number 2. "I stayed strong mentally and with positive thoughts," he declared. That attitude not only helped him overcome mistakes but also sustain his level of play when he needed it most, an essential trait in champions who aspire to mark an era in tennis. What makes Alcaraz most proud is precisely that ability to concentrate. Entering the court with the goal of staying at 100% throughout the match is a target he sets for himself. Achieving it against rivals of Rublev's caliber is no easy task, but he takes it on as a constant challenge that strengthens him and prepares him for even more demanding scenarios. The Mercian also highlighted the importance of the atmosphere in Cincinnati. The energy of the crowd and the environment of the center court played a motivating role that allowed him to enjoy the experience even in the most tense moments. That connection with the fans has become one of his trademarks, and it is a factor that often boosts his performance in decisive stages. Maintaining positive thoughts is not just a mental resource but a philosophy that guides his game. Alcaraz understands that tennis is a sport where mistakes are inevitable, but the way they are faced defines the final result. His ability not to be carried away by frustration gives him a competitive advantage over rivals who, in similar circumstances, often give up ground emotionally. The match against Rublev also made clear Carlos's maturity. Despite being only 21 years old, he showed a serenity typical of players with much more experience. When he failed to close the match on serve, instead of falling apart, he focused on staying firm in the rallies and waiting for another chance. That mentality allowed him to regain control and seal the victory decisively. In this sense, mental strength is not just a complement but an essential part of his success. Alcaraz has built his confidence based on similar experiences, where extreme pressure forced him to make quick decisions and trust his abilities. Each match of this kind strengthens him even more for future challenges, including the imminent clash against Alexander Zverev. Moreover, his ability to enjoy even the most tense moments is an aspect that sets him apart. "I love playing in these atmospheres," he said. That ability to turn pressure into motivation is an uncommon trait that makes Alcaraz a dangerous competitor in any scenario, as he not only withstands tension but seems to thrive on it. The semi-final against Zverev will be a new test, but Alcaraz arrives with the conviction that his mental strength can make the difference. His tennis is in great shape, his confidence remains intact, and his ability to maintain positive thoughts in every point makes him an extremely difficult opponent to beat. Cincinnati could be the stage where he once again makes a statement of authority. The victory over Rublev was not just another step toward the Cincinnati final but also a demonstration of the mentality that defines Carlos Alcaraz. His ability to stay positive in adversity and find solutions under pressure are qualities that elevate him to the category of champion in the making. With 7 consecutive semifinals and surprising maturity for his age, Alcaraz continues consolidating himself as a reference in current tennis. The duel against Zverev will be a demanding test, but his mental strength is, without a doubt, his greatest weapon.